Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Let's Get Loud podcast. This is a not solo podcast episode, but I have a guest and I'm so excited. And maybe you guys need to watch this on YouTube and not just listen. We have Natalie Davison here.
Hey, buddy.
Hi, this is so amazing. You were on the podcast a long, long time ago.
Yeah, like before the pandemic.
What a crazy time. Is that how we
Uh-huh.
met? Is that how we met? Like, is that how you came into my world?
I was a member. I came into your world as a member.
Okay. I
Yeah.
didn't remember if I had known you before as before a member.
I love that you just said known. No, we met as a member. We met, but like I didn't know I didn't really know you. I just knew like I'd seen you online. And a friend was like, you got to come to Your Way Weight Loss. She was talking about you as a speaker. She was like, Alicia's so funny and like you'll love it. And I'll be honest, I'm really picky about who I find funny. So I had low expectations. And then you blew my mind. You are hilarious. And I
Oh,
don't throw that compliment around.
thank you. I do love to do that. And you were there in the days when we used to pack that hall.
It was great. I remember as somebody with a coaching business, I remember just walking in and just like business mathing.
Yeah.
Like I just like walk. I was like, and you didn't at that time, you guys were running a big spreadsheet. You didn't have your online systems and your sleekness. I don't know if you had credit cards yet.
I don't
I
think.
feel like people were paying with cash and like e-transfer. It was
And
it
check.
was a it was legit. And it was like, and I walk in and I am like, there's all these tools out there that are so slick, right? But it's also such a testament to how you guys just knew what you wanted to do and you did not slow down. You just did it. And so I walk in and it was like, I'd spent, at that time in my career, I'd spent so much time learning how to run an online business and a coaching business in all these other ways. And I walk in and it's like, none of that matters if you don't have humans. And you guys had like, I remember this is not what this episode's supposed to be about, but I remember one meeting where everybody I knew started going, right? Because everybody saw me lose all this weight. So everybody I knew started going down Your Way Weight Loss. Like I had my own section almost of people in the in-person meetings. And there was a meeting where we had to go to a different location across the parking lot
Yeah.
because something was happening and you couldn't get everybody in. It was
Yeah.
standing room.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
It was crazy. But like, if you think about it now, like just to get, I took for granted over 200 people every Saturday would come to listen to me talk. Like, it's nuts to really think about now.
As someone currently selling 200 tickets to something, yes, it's a
Yeah.
big deal.
Okay, so that's how Natalie and I know each other, but like then we've like just continued our love and been in each other's lives, mostly through the internet over the years, just always cheering each other on. And I've just like watched you do all the things and like there's a TV show, there's a real estate agent business thing. It's like, and there's a coaching business, there's a membership, there's a this. And Natalie has an event coming up that I'm actually speaking at, and we wanted to just like talk about it.
Yes, so excited to talk about it. So I do a lot of things, and most of those things are really in the realm of business. Like anything that I offer in terms of coaching, traditionally has all really been for businesses, right? I'm a marketing expert and a real estate expert, and this summer I had someone reach out that's like a long term. I was their business coach years ago, and they went a different way in their career. They've kind of slowed things down, and they work for somebody else, but they're still a growth minded person. And she reached out, she's like, would you ever do something for people who don't own businesses? And I was like, well, everything I do applies to people who don't own businesses. I didn't say that, but I thought about it. And then I just got curious and asked a few more questions. And what really came out of that conversation is that unless you are in kind of entrepreneurial circles, there are not a lot of places to go and talk about growth, like
You're
personal growth,
so true. And I just
right?
wrote down like the growth minded person, like someone that's growth minded. I like those words. I like that.
Yeah. Well, and it's where do you go? Like most people can't sit down with their friends and family and say, like, I have a big dream.
Yeah.
They can't. And not maybe because their friends or family are not nice. It's just they like you the way that you are now.
Yep.
And so when you grow, you change. And that can be very scary for the people who love you and that where they want to protect you. They think you're just fine the way that you are. And you might be like, yeah, I'm fine the way that I am, but also I'd like to be more of me. And so where do we go? Where do we find environments to have those conversations where you don't have to own a business? There's not a lot. So that's what this day is really all about.
Amazing. And I guess like, you have books. I could listen to a book. I can listen to a podcast, but that's a one solo experience. There's so much power in that community and like learning from other people.
100%. And also stacking your environment, right? So, like, you go read a book and you're fired up and you're like, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go take care of this part of my life. And then you walk into your home and the people in your home don't feel that way. Well, you have to be that much stronger to double down on yourself. And I'm sure you see this in your work every day where people say, oh, but what if my husband's not going to eat what I eat? Well, the lesson is that doesn't matter, but we think it does. And so if you can stack your environment, make a new friend at this event or five that all of a sudden become part of your circle that are also growth minded, you have now places to go and talk about your dreams. And your dreams
Isn't
don't just
it
go to die. Yeah.
crazy how the advice, it almost doesn't matter what people's goals are and what they're trying to achieve. Isn't it insane that the advice and the skills they need to achieve it is the same?
It's the same. It doesn't matter, which is why when this person said, would you do something not for business owners? I almost chuckled because I was like, well, yeah, technically I have a business coaching program, but right now, a lot of my members are working on a habit of daily active movement,
So
right?
tell us, let's go back a little bit. So how did you get to a place where you started a group coaching business membership called Known? Like, also love the name, obsessed with the name. Did you think of it yourself?
Yeah. I
So good.
did. Yeah. So, I used to have a marketing agency. Like I have a big background in marketing, right? So naming things is kind of my thing. So that is my skill. I'm not a graphic designer and I'm not a video producer, but I can really do the words. So I'm fortunate to have that. This program launched in February of this year. And I'll be honest, I had a business membership before when I was running Marrow with Kira, my former business partner. And so we had a business membership called the Society of Brand Integrity, where we were working on building brands with our clients. And we had a business breakup. And so when we had a business breakup, I did not have the ability to just keep going on my own, like mentally. I was like, who am I without you? It was a whole situation. Now that I'm much more known to myself, it would be different, right? I'm not going to ever have anything that I run as a business that if someone left or came, it would end. But that's who I was at that time. And so I have a background in this and I love the work so much. And so I always knew it was going to come back around. I just didn't know when. And this February, for whatever reason, it was time. It just was time. And so I launched it, and I launched it messy, honestly. I launched it like the
Scrappy.
200 people with no credit card payment, right? Like it was like the same thing. It was very much like I'm hopping on Zoom every week and here I am. And so we've spent almost a year. The program has made significant change. I was with one of my members yesterday and she was like, do you even see the size of change people are making? I do. And so now we just closed the doors. We're doing a little makeover, bring it into the 2025 in a higher level. So that's my Known membership. But
Okay.
Known the event that we're talking about is truly for anybody who wants to go have growth minded conversations, whether you have a business or not.
I just love the way that you show up and do things. We do things very similar in a sense where we have an idea and we just like go for it and implement, and we don't wait for that like perfection, the pretty things, the perfect technology, all the things. It's like one, two, three, go. Like you told me you were doing this event and it was like November 22nd. And you told me, and I was like, does she know it's October, whatever? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Because you know what happened, Alicia? If I launched it 6 months early, it would not be better. And I think that's the thing that's so interesting to people, right? They want to spend all the time planning and like whatever. Like the impact of this event, I'm going to tell you right now, is going to come from the energy I bring, the energy you bring. Jason, like Andy, the speakers that are lined up are like next level. I'm not the kind of person like that, I'm going to be like, oh, you got your swag. Like, I don't do swag bags. Like, I don't, there's so many tiny details that don't actually layer in value. No offense to anybody who likes swag bags. I'm just saying, usually it's just like a bunch of clutter for your house, right? Like, I'm not spending my time on details that don't actually pack value. I promised you that we're going to go have a day of growth minded conversation that will change your life. That is not dependent on like any tiny detail. It's depth. And so we have that already. So we don't need a lot of time to build depth because the roster of people showing up already have it.
So really this whole like idea stemmed from like, okay, I have this membership and this is business focused, but then I want to create a space for people who maybe aren't business people, but still have that growth mindset and they want a place to go and learn and have impact.
Yes. And a couple of things about my business philosophy that makes this make sense, right? Like, first of all, I always say, I want everybody to understand anytime I'm talking about marketing or business, I start this way because we make associations to what we are and what we are not in our identity. And so as soon as I go in a room and I say, I'm going to talk about marketing, immediately the first thing people do is like, oh, I'm not a marketer. I'm not a
Oh,
marketer.
I
This isn't for
know.
me.
Yes.
Like, we do that, right? So the
Labels.
first thing I say is we're going to just get some definitions out of the way. The first definition is this: marketing is just getting humans to take action. If you get your toddler to eat vegetables today, congratulations, you're a marketer. This is for you. And I want to make sure that people understand that no matter where I am, like the conversation is relevant. So all of a sudden, well, who wants to get humans to take action? Every human wants to get other humans to take action. So all of a sudden you're like, oh, this is for me. Okay, this is interesting. What are brands? Brands are groups of humans exchanging value. You're a brand, I'm a brand, then you're part of a bigger brand, and then you're part of a bigger brand, right? Like, but your personal brand, like, is you. And that's why you just change companies. Nobody cares. They're following you.
Yeah.
And so that they're here for you. And the same thing. So when we have those conversations with people, they can start to see that this is just actually business is just a human interaction. Money's just energy. And we all exchange money. So we get really fancy about like what it means to be a business or not a business. And I just think it's all nonsense. I really do, because I'm in the business of human connection and human exchange. And we can call it whatever we need to call it so that people buy tickets to it. But the truth is, we're going to get to know ourselves so we can be known by others. And then you take that with you. So if you work for somebody else right now in a job, and in 5 years you find out that you have a dream of owning a business, well, that growth you did on you, it comes.
Okay, so the whole like knowing yourself piece,
Yes.
is this like step one?
Yes. But also it's not step one in the sense that, like, it's never done.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? It's like step one, but forever. And
And
I think that like,
knowing yourself and then knowing what you want.
mm,
Are those two different things?
so knowing what you want, let's just make that heavy on, like, when you think of that sentence, knowing what you want, let's put the emphasis on the you. So if we put the emphasis on you, what you want, then you have to know yourself. Most of us are walking around. We don't even know what we want. And maybe we think we know what we want, and we're doing it through the lens of what society told us to want, what our partner told us to want, what we think would make us a good mom. Like, whatever, a good mom would want this. A good mom wouldn't go for a walk right now and put her kids in front of the TV. A good mom, blah, 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 right? Like, do you know what I'm saying? So many things people do, I'm sure you see this every day, aren't even what they want. They're filtering through stories that they're carrying around, they're probably not aware of, that were planted when they were a kid, by society, in school, by their partner, by their friends, by the people that surround them. And they're doing what those people want. And so this is about getting into a room, dropping those stories, figuring them out so you can table them, and asking, like, what do I want?
And I'm sure there's a lot of women listening to this. And we have this conversation with women a lot because we always say, like, show up authentically, right? And like, be who you want to be. And they're like, I'll say, who do you want to be? And some women say to me, I don't know.
I don't
Like, I
know.
don't know. And it's for the reasons you listed. They've spent so much of their life doing what society thinks they should. They're shooting their way through life. If like, what is your advice to women listening who feel like, I don't really know what I want? I don't know who I am. Like, where do I go?
I think it's really important to start doing some work on like, if you don't know what you want, start figuring out like, where are your behaviors coming from? So if you can't get yourself to go for a walk during the day because you feel guilty, well, you dig into that. Who put that there? Whose story is it that you're not allowed to have that time? Who benefits from you not going? And I'm using the example of a walk because I think it relates to everybody, but who benefits from you believing that you can't go for a walk today during the day? Who wins? Right? Like, is there an industry that wins because they get to sell you a quick fix? Is there somebody that benefits financially? Are there people in your life that benefit because you're not taking care of your health and you're not putting yourself first, and so they get to be put first? Who wins when you don't know what you want? Start with that so you can acknowledge that you're doing something that somebody else wants you to do.
Okay, so such a big part of your brand is taking care of yourself. Like, you are by no means ever selling whatever you're eating, however you're moving your body, but that's such a big part of your brand. How
Yeah.
important do you think that is to you being the person you are?
Oh my God. I look, I did not live my life for me until like 2 years ago. And I thought I was. And that's the hard part, right? We all have roles and identities. Like I had a role in my family unit, in my friend units. Like I had a job to do that was given to me when I was very young. And it was how I determined that I was valuable. And we all have this. There's like a lot of research done on internal family systems. I highly recommend you look into it if you're like, this sounds like me, and you figure out the part of you that is valuable to the people around you. And for a lot of women, and I'm like an oldest child, but like for a lot of women, that is a caretaking part. Like I know how to handle this. I know how to be in charge of this. I know how to manage this. Oh, nobody knows where their coats are in my house. Like, and we make that our job and we make that our value. And you're laughing because it's freaking true, right? And a couple years ago, we had an incident with a jacket with a grown adult couldn't find their jacket. And I was like, I've had enough. Like, I am no longer telling you where your jacket is. Like, it's like, it is not a skill I am bringing to the table anymore in our family. But I'm joking, but like, most of us have these little roles that we were taught. And so now we walk around and we're like, well, this is how I provide value. And we don't understand that there are other options.
Amazing.
And so many times when we're playing those roles, we're actually diminishing our value because it's not your potential. My potential as a human being is not finding a grown man's coat.
I need to know if it was your husband's Coke or your kid's Coke.
Of course. I love my husband's amazing. Like, don't get me wrong, but it was a whole scene. And I went for my walk and I was like, it was early morning. I said, I'm not finding your coat. You're a grown adult. You can find your coat. So literally, he's going to die that I'm telling the story. I go for my walk. I am on my walk. He's phoning me. It's just to go to work. He's phoning me on my walk. And he says, so you guys can imagine my husband is, a large man, an offensive lineman. And my brother lives in our in-law suite, who is a very tall, lean man. They're nothing like their body, like, we were talking like a 2XL and a medium, right? And so my husband calls me. I'm on my walk. It's like 7 a.m. And he's like, do you think maybe Corey took my coat? No.
Wow.
Right. And like, oh my God, love my husband. He's amazing. He does a lot of stuff around here. Don't get me wrong. But it's just the role that I had always played for like decades. And so I had to decide that like, my potential is more than that, right? Now, does that mean that like if I actually have his coat in my vision and he can't find it, I'm going to say no? Of course not. Like I'm not a monster here, but I needed to take accountability for how I spend my time, my short time in this life, and I want that for my family too. I don't
You
want to raise kids that think they need the mom all the time.
Yeah, and the biggest thing that you can do for your kids, if it's important for you, is you can model that behavior. And
Right.
so, the biggest thing that you can do to help them to grow up to be the biggest, bestest humans is for you to be the biggest, bestest human for yourself.
100%. And like, so the summer we went on vacation to see their grandparents, my in-laws, and I brought all my food. That was big. Like
Yeah.
that was major, right? Like the family sitting down and having meals together. And I was like, guys, I'm working on this plan and this is really important to me. And so for now, like I'm just gonna go and eat this chicken. And like everybody had all these questions. And it was it was hard, but it was easy. But what I got to show my kids was this is important to me now. You've been in my life for 16 years. You have never seen me eat different food when the family sits down. And at this moment in time, I'm working on something that makes me choose that. And so I'm going to do that now. And nobody's going to get hurt and nobody's going to be mad and nobody's going to have everybody's fine. Everybody still loves each other. We're okay. Those are the kinds of things.
And it's also the conversation and your intentions behind what you're doing. It's not like, oh, poor me, I'm eating my Tupperware and I'm miserable and I can't eat that. It's like you're owning your choice and this is what I want. And was that like, and there's many examples of you stepping into not being someone that's just living their life for someone else. Was that like, was that so hard? How did you get over that? Was it mostly conversations? Was it practice? Like, how did you get pushed through that?
To not living my life for other people.
Yeah, like how did you start to make changes and like, hey, I'm going for my walk. Okay, now I'm eating this, like I'm doing this, whereas they were used to maybe you showing up in a different way.
I lived my life for other people until I actually couldn't anymore. Like I found myself in my therapist's office about to cancel my not go on vacation with my husband and kids to take care of other people in tears on a Saturday morning. Like I don't want anybody to be where I was. But I was there. I was like, I can't go on this vacation. I can't. Right. And all I could see was what I couldn't do because I was just trying to hold down so many parts for other people. And that version of me, like it's a lifelong inner person in there. Like, and I was just in crisis. And she was like, whoa, like, no, like this changes now, or like you're not okay. And I really don't want anybody else to get to that place, obviously, right? So then it was like, so she gave me this as we started to work on like the changes that I was going to make. She gave me this one incredibly powerful, very brave metric. And luckily, I'm a people pleaser and I really wanted her to be proud of me. So like that. So to me, it was about like it was finding someone in my life that I wanted to do a good job for. So I still had that programming. You don't just lose it overnight. But it's like, well, replace the person then. Find the person who wants the best for you while you learn those habits. And so she told me and gave me this tool, and it was this. It was, am I doing this out of love or guilt? And if you're doing it out of guilt, you aren't allowed doing it.
Whoa. Okay.
It was crazy. The next 4 months of my life were absolutely crazy. I had so many people leave my life. I've had so many people in the last few years leave my life that is what we're all scared of, right? It's why we keep doing stuff. And people I love and welcome a relationship with in the future, but like on different terms. And they were like, oh, I don't like this version of you. And they went. And it's the thing you're the most scared of, and it's not that scary.
That would be so interesting for you guys that are listening. And I'm sure like when Natalie was talking about just like doing things for everyone. Like I want you guys to just think about your day today. Like doing this for your boss, doing this for your husband, your kids, like you're just and I think it impacts women more than it does men because of just the way that society has told us our role is to literally take care of everyone and everything and find
100%.
everyone's coats. And I want you guys to like as you're going through your day today, think about like I'm doing this for everyone, everyone, everyone. And like, am I doing this out of guilt or love?
Yeah.
Like, no one's gonna cook dinner tonight if they stop making those. Like,
Until they do, right? Like that's the thing. It's like you stop doing all these things and then you have the opportunity to start replacing them with love. And then your whole life comes alive, right? So, sometimes people are like, "Oh, are you ever going to forgive this person that left your life?" I'm like, "I already have." Are you kidding? I already like I'm good. I am so good. I'm ready. But these behaviors can't happen anymore. And if they're cool with that, I'm cool with that.
and
But like,
what
go
about
ahead.
like, and this is really personal, but like, what about your husband? Like, what about your kids? What about those relationships? Like, it's different to kind of lose a friend or a coworker or whatever, but like, how did he react? How did they react?
Well, my husband was super relieved. Like my kids are relieved. Like they were watching me, like, because it's not, listen, if you're kidding yourself that you're just doing this for your immediate family, like that's not true. Right? There's a whole extended family. There's a whole group of friends. There are other people that you are putting ahead because you want to be approved and you are putting them ahead of your family. A lot of us put our husbands or our partners and our kids actually down the list so that we can fulfill the family obligations that we had given to us and or that we took on, and we maybe chose to take on because it felt good. You felt validated, right? So I think a lot of people can hear that right now too. And like I
Mm.
was talking to a woman I was coaching a few months ago, and she was so stressed out and exhausted and burned out and sad because her last of her third children was 2 months from moving out for university and she wasn't getting enough time with them. And then she proceeded to tell me how she every day visits an uncle, an aunt, and her dad in a home. Now, that's beautiful, but at the expense of the time that she wants to spend with her child. And I'm not saying what's right or wrong for anybody, no judgment, right? But the truth is, she wasn't happy. And that's what matters. She wasn't going to see them out of love. She was going out of guilt. And that was making the entire thing resentful because her intention was not loving, right? So I think that I know that we are raised in our generations that guilt is love. We do so many things in families out of obligation instead of out of love. And that isn't loving to ourselves.
So good. As you were talking about changes and stuff, like over the last couple of years, I stopped drinking as much as I had been drinking before. And that was massive for me because I have t-shirts that say head drinker. Like that was my role
Yeah.
in my friendship group. Like my friends'
Yeah.
husbands would be like, Alicia, like not wanting me to do shots with their wives, because then, and so when I was starting to think about making those changes, and those were for me and how I was feeling, it was kind of scary to show up in my friendship group differently because I'm like valued as the fun one, the head drinker.
Yeah. That's it. You have to love yourself so much that it doesn't matter. And like Leisha, like if you go back and look, if anybody goes back and looks at the brand photos from Marrow, we
Yeah.
have one where I'm eating a cupcake. That was my personal brand. I won't do fitness. I'm not
Yeah.
doing health. Like that was I put a freaking flag in the ground on that. That like, I'm like, I can do this and be me, like, and I was like, well, when I look back, like that was the version of me then. That was the bravest I could be then. Right.
Yeah.
But now I'm taking chicken to my in-laws. Like it's, it's better for me. I'm taking care of me in a different way. And it's so hard because we're taught that like love looks these certain ways and it's the doing, it's the putting yourself last. And I will say that like it's just not. And it's got to have mutual love. And if you don't have love, if you can't find that love for yourself to take care of yourself, to go for walks, whatever it is that you want, if you don't know what you You have to love yourself enough to find that. And if you can't find those things, you're not actually showing up in a loving way with the other people, and there's resentment building.
So, oh my goodness, it's so good. So basically, this personal journey is I mean, I've had several like impactful journeys and moments in my life, and I remember just looking around and wanting to share it with other women.
Right.
And I think that's like where you're at right now is that you're looking around and you're seeing where you were 2 years ago and where you are now. And you're like, I can make this difference in the world. And I want to help you know yourself, show up for yourself, and actually get what you want.
And further to that, yes, the speakers I have lined up have all been some kind of a coach on my journey in some way.
So
So
cool.
I feel like I've been on this journey since we were saying like 2016. And the very first person on that journey is Chris Fries, who's coming in from Ontario to speak. And Chris, I said, Chris colored me in. Chris was the first person who looked at me and said, you have real talent in marketing. I think you should make a go of this. You were part of my journey. Every one of those speakers has been part of my journey in getting to where I am today. And so if they help me this much, I need other people to experience them too.
Tell us a little bit more about like what the day is going to look like.
Absolutely. So we have, you know what's so fun? We have like some of like the best of the best heavy hitter speakers, and then we have like people doing their first talk, and that's what's really fun for me too, because everybody does a first talk, right? So I'll give you some like highlights. We have Jason Cyrus, who does an incredible keynote. I think it's interesting. Everybody thinks of Jason the hypnotist and like a hypno stage show entertainment. Jason is actually brilliant hypnotherapist and mindset expert. And I've done hypnotherapy with Jason to help envision the life that I live now. Brilliant. So Jason's going to be there. Andy Moore, who owns Kuma, is going to do a 30-minute Kuma pop-up with us.
Ooh,
We're like
that's so
literally, I
fun.
know, we are like blacking out the room, and we are going to experience, if you don't know what I mean by Kuma, it's Andy's yoga studio that is a somatic experience. So it's not just yoga in front of mirrors like you expect. It is like there's lights on the ceilings and there's smells and there's sounds, and like it's a whole other world, and we're going to do that.
Cool.
Yeah, the speakers that are coming in are truly going to get you like in a deeper way than you're probably used to at any other conference. And then I myself am speaking, and we're going to talk about my journey, but also taking what you find inside that day. And then we're going to wrap up the day in a session with me where we turn it into actionable steps for 2025.
Okay,
How are you?
that's my love language. Okay, we're doing
Yes.
actionable steps.
Actionable steps. We
Yes.
are going to take what you find inside yourself that day, and
Yeah.
we are going to turn it into, what do I do next? What do I do every day? When do I check on it? How do I measure if it's working? When do I recalibrate? So we're going to lay that all out.
Okay, amazing. I'm like so excited.
It's going to be the best. I'm so
I'm
excited too.
so excited. So it's like a full day, like 8:30 to 4.
8:30 to, I think I've been 8:30 to 5,
Okay.
just in case, because I
Okay.
talked long. I don't know if you guys have caught that yet, but
And you're feeding people?
we're feeding people. Yeah. So I don't want anybody leaving. Like, it's like we are, because
I
once
see.
you leave, it changes the energy,
Yeah,
whatever.
you're
Like,
right.
we are on site, we are in it together. You're going to have new friends
Yeah.
I'm making sure you make a new friend.
And where is it again?
It's at the Wingate Hotel in Dieppe.
Okay.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
drive to Dieppe. That's
Dieppe,
not
you
far.
do.
That's not Dieppe. That's only Dieppe,
Oh, it's,
right?
I was going to make such an inappropriate joke. It's just a little Dieppe.
You see what I mean though? Like there's
Mhm.
Dieppe, and then
Oh
there's
yeah.
right?
I call it deep Dieppe.
I love that. That's really good.
This is light Dieppe. Yeah.
Okay, so guys, we're gonna wrap this up, and I am gonna put the link to come to the event. You'll see Natalie, you'll see me, you'll see lots of other people that are going to be at the event and speaking. And if you guys have any questions, send either Natalie or I a message. What's the best place for them to find you if they feel like they need more Natalie in their life?
Instagram at Natalie_I_Davison is the place to be.
Oh, so annoying Instagram handles, eh? I'll put that in the show notes as well, you guys.
I can't even.
It's just so hard.
I was an early adopter, but not early enough to get my name.
To get your actual name. Okay. And then what are you leaving with them with? We're leaving them. If you could give advice, like the one thing that you wish everyone was doing for themselves every single day to be be that growth minded person, what is it?
I really want people to take the time to notice how they spend their time.
Yes.
Look at your day. I mean, like I would actually pull out a notebook and write down what you do. And then does it energize you or does it drain you?
A
And
time
then just
audit.
look at it at the end of the day. Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
this.
Is it filling my bucket or is it emptying my bucket? Just notice it.
Yeah. Take the pressure off of anything else, but
Yeah.
noticing,
Just
creating awareness.
notice it. That's it. You know what to do once you notice it, but just notice it.
So good. Okay, I love this talk so much, and I'm excited to spend more time with you. And thank you for being a guest on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. This means everything.
So good. Okay, have a good day.
Okay, bye.
Bye.